Today is the day I start the Suicide MX3. I put in so much work into this all winter long and it finally runs. So I'm going to show you the car running, things that I've done to it over the winter that's made it way better, and the new wheels. All right, it's almost been 2 years since I have really driven this thing, and I can't be any more excited that it runs and drives. So I'm gonna get to all that very shortly. But first off, start this bad girl up. It's been a long time since I've heard this thing run. And just like that, she's running. A round of applause. A round of applause. This wasn't just, oh, put an engine in and start it up. No, this was do trannies, do engines, do all the engine management electrically. Everything is new. Everything is as modern as I possibly could. I am loving this. It runs, it drives. I gotta tell you all about my car now. I really have to. This thing is gonna be so much better. I am not even kidding. She runs and drives, baby. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so I am in a great mood. This thing is literally going to be so different. I'm telling you right now, this is a game changer. I have done coil packs, so it has fully sequential for my fuel system and ignition system. Each cylinder can be tuned individually. Huge gains right there alone. I'm not gonna have spark blowout at 400 horsepower like I did. I have the capabilities of running as much as my turbo will, and the turbo will probably make well over 600 horse. So I can't wait to find that out either. Fuel system's there, everything is good to go. My shifter design is fully changed, and it is so much better, to be completely honest. Look how wild it is to start. It's wild, absolutely wild. The goal with this shifter is I will be able to run both my engines with one shifter because the back cables are ran already and there's already hookups for the front. I'll basically just hook up the front cables and adjust it since I made it fully adjustable, and then it will work with two engines with one shifter. Can't wait to drive it like that. Completely different. Water to air intercooler tank is huge. Carries almost 30 liters of water, so that is going to cool my intake charge like crazy. And here's the magic maker. So here is my intercooler intake that I've custom made. Look at that. Custom headers, custom exhaust. So this is a muffler. I made a fully street setup just for the rear of this MX3 so I can actually have a quiet setup. As you can hear, it was very, very controlled sound, not out of control, like straight headers off the turbo, nothing like that. I have the other setup that I did have before, and that is totally going to be used at the track, but for street-wise, this is going to be just like it is, and it looks beautiful. I took my time, made it really nice, and it is easily to remove. It's just 2 bolts, 1 there and 2 there, so that means 3 actually, and it will come right off, and then just 1 V-band, and I can put on my exhaust that goes up, but I can't run the hatch. This is the factory hatch that this car came with, and it is bolted on. It fits good, and it looks stock. If it had a rear bumper on, it would look stock. So here she is, guys. Look at that. What a beautiful rig. Got my spoiler fitting. This actually ripped off when I was driving it on the street 2 years ago, and I went to a pretty outrageous speed and it ripped right off. I was going like 100 kilometers an hour when that happened. And I used to have problems with this completely holding all the heat in. So my air getting forced in the engine that was already hot in the first place. And with turbo setups, the air actually gets hotter once it's actually compressed into positive pressure. So it was not efficient for power. And I made a hood slash roof scoop, and it will literally suck air right into my turbo. So right in there, it's gonna suck nice air from the atmosphere right into the engine bay. It looks really nice as well. Took a lot of time doing that. Nice tin work. I did some nice tin work in there. Not too shabby. I had to raise the hatch a bit so it would fit the turbo. It wasn't actually hitting the hatch, but it was very close, and I needed some sort of room to actually have a buffer for heat and a buffer for if something happened, it wouldn't just smash the window. I don't know, like say I hit a bump and whatever, and things moved by like 1/4 inch. That was even physically possible with solid engine mounts that I also did, and it's impossible for anything bad to happen in my mind. So I think I'm good there. And here's some brand new wheels. These are very hard to find wheels. They are actually 10 inches wide plus. They're actually slightly over 10 inches wide. And for a 4x100 bolt pattern, which is stock on the MX3, which I wanted to keep, it is the widest I could possibly find. And right now it has 255 tires on it, and they're slightly stretched. There's a mild stretch there, so it could actually fit a larger tire on my wheels. And the front wheels are the exact same as the back, so they are also 10 wide. I have fully electronic power steering, so when I just have the rear engine running, I will have power steering with the easy flick of a switch, which is super nice for driving, and it was actually a really big pain in the butt to do that. It's actually a pump off of an MR2, so MR2s also have the engine in the trunk, so I kind of copied their design and ran it and modified it into the Suicide MX3. And going underneath the belly here, I have 2 huge fuel pumps, one for each engine, and they flow enough power for about 700 horsepower each engine. So do the math, that's well over 1,000 horsepower that we've got for fueling. And while I was at it, I added a flex fuel sensor. So what I can do with that is I can run E85 or normal regular pump fuel in Canada, no problem. And once I have my tune dialed in, I can put in half E85 or half pump fuel or any percentage in between that and 100%, and my tune will be spot on. This is a sensor out of a 2010 GMC. I modify it to fit my car with AN fittings, and it works flawlessly. Over here, I have my boost controller. I have electronic boost control now, so I can literally, by throttle position, I can have different power levels, and that is huge when it comes to a turbo car. So I can have 90% of my throttle position being 400 horsepower, and then I can have the last 10%, all of it. Whatever the highest number I'm getting, hopefully over 500 each engine, I'll be able to actually run that with different pedal positions in any desire I want. And for my rad and intercooler setup is up here. I custom made a shroud and did a lot to this rad. This is a rad out of an MR2, and I made it work with 2 engines. So 2 engines feed into here. It has 2 ins, 1 down there, 1 up here, and 2 out. So when I have one engine up to operating temp and I fire up the other engine, it already has ran that coolant through the other engine. So it's already got hot block ready to go. And the setup I had before, it was 2 individual rads. So I would run each engine completely sequential. So they were completely individual. And I would basically have to run both engines up to temp individually. Now I don't have to. They are fully intertwined with the coolant system. And I like the simplicity. I like that both will be warm when they're warmed up. And it also adds a lot of cooling system volume for one engine. So if I'm just running the back engine, I have all the other coolant that's in the front engine as volume as well. So it takes a long time to heat soak that coolant. So it's basically like a huge reservoir as the front engine once I'm running the rear engine alone. I'm running fuel pressure sensors and oil pressure sensors. So I set perimeters, so if it drops between 5 PSI and 10 PSI, it will completely kill the engine as a fail-safe, kind of limp mode, so I don't lean the engine out, because if you don't have the sufficient amount of PSI in the actual rails, you will run lean, because it will actually not be squirting what the computer thinks it's going to be into the engine. And same for oil pressure. So I got my oil pressure as well. So if it drops between 5 to 10 PSI on what is average on my engine, I will have to distinguish that on the dyno and make a graph and then just dial it down to 5 PSI or whatever. And then I will have a fail-safe there as well. So if it drops oil pressure, engine dies, and then I know something's wrong, check the logs. And for the heart of the car, I have a fully built engine, custom cams, custom ground cams. So these are tri-flows, so they will idle good, have good mid-range, and have a lot of top end. They were engineered by a guy that runs Colt cams, and they have been proven to make some serious power, actually idle well, have good drivability all around, and I can't wait to actually test those out, because I've never had custom cams before, and this engine currently does, so I'm really excited about that. And the transmission, this transmission is out of a Toyota Camry, and that was engineered by myself and a couple other people at Stim Technologies. We made an adapter plate that adapts the KL engine to actual Camry, Celica, TC, and those transmissions are well known as 1,000 horsepower holding trannies out of the box and open with LSD in the Camry. This is a Toyota Camry tranny. I actually took the LSD out and welded it, so this is a fully locked diff. So when I'm drifting, I will be spinning both the rear tires all the time, and that's exactly what I need. And for coil packs, these are coil packs off of an LS1. These are stout. They are the best ignition system on the market, and it's out of a Chevy truck. What would you know? So this will increase my spark capabilities to well over 500 horsepower. I had distributor before, and it was limiting me to pretty much 420 horsepower because of the ignition system having blowout. I'm not gonna have that anymore. It's got all the spark, even idling the car. It's never ran this good ever. So I'm really stoked about that. Fully sequential. Each cylinder can be tuned individually with my new ECUs. And they are down there, and that is some modern technology there. Way more modern than I had before. It can do EGTs, which I did install, I'll get to that. And they can do wide bands per cylinder, so you can have literally information and data more than any other ECU that I've currently had. So this is serious technology for me, and I'm really excited to have it running so good. I've done a lot behind the scenes to get it running this good, and I'm proud of it. I'm very proud of this car. This is the best it's ever been, and I cannot wait to physically drive it down the track. Way down in there, I made a custom adjustable tensioner for my belt on my timing, but that's just like a couple hour job. And now to my EGTs. This is my header setup I made, and these are my EGTs. So each cylinder, I have data on heat. So if I have a lean condition in one cylinder, I will know because it'll be running a hotter EGT per cylinder, and I'll be able to data log that. I've already dialed in my injectors at idle, and everything is running way more seamless. You can literally get it to like within 10 degrees of temperature between each cylinder, and it does actually make a wild difference. I'm really excited about that. That was a very expensive adventure for me, but thank you megasquirt for doing the parcel sponsorship on that. I couldn't be any more thankful for it, and it is going to make the car run much better, and especially when at the track, wide open throttle, say it goes lean, and my EGTs go way over 1500 Fahrenheit, and then I can have perimeters to kill the engine if it goes over the temperature of melting aluminum. So aluminum melts at 1300 Fahrenheit, so that's probably a good threshold to have because my pistons are aluminum. So I'm going to set it at 1200 Fahrenheit to start and go from there. And if I do need to up it because I'm not making enough power, I will, but starting with the essentials as the safest possible. I can run the car, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. My car is known as the Suicide MX3 for one reason, because it has two engines. No, it does not at this moment. I need to put an engine together, which is right behind me, and it is right there. And I've got another one as well. I have everything ready to go. That's gonna be the next step on the channel, is doing the engine for the front. And it is going to get a Toyota transmission as well, mated to it, and then get dropped in. It's got the same injectors as the back, same fuel system for pump. Everything is identically mirrored to the back. And theoretically, I should be able to have very close tunes. It won't be difficult to have dyno tune the back engine and then move it to the front and have very, very close, and just slightly adjust from there and go in increments and get equal tunes and go from there with the actual drag racing setup that I used to run. I haven't drag raced in a couple years because I got addicted to drifting, which I still am addicted to it. I'm gonna be doing that a lot. But the main goal for this car in the beginning was drag racing, and that has not changed. I just like having fun and letting loose and just killing tires as well. So this car is gonna do it all. It's gonna be on ice, it's gonna be in snow, it's gonna be drag racing, it's going to drift, it's going to all-wheel drive drift. It's gonna be a content machine, and the machine I wanted to build, honestly, like this is my dream, and I'm making it happen. I'm making it happen. I'm putting all the effort in I possibly can. I built a shop for it. Look at the shop I got here. I built this shop specifically for this car. I'm not playing no games here. So I gave you a good run around on the car. Can't wait to see what happens next with it. Very, very soon, this car is gonna be driving unit and making boost. I haven't made any boost on this engine yet, ever. It's a brand new engine that I built last year, and it's ready to go. Everything's sealed up back here, done. I don't even have to open this hood until I go dyno tune it or drive it. For those that don't know me, I'm Ty, and I own the Suicide MX3, and I've made it from day one. I've had this car for 10 years, and it's became quite the unit that I've had a huge goal for a long time. First it started rear engine, then I made a twin engine, and now here we are making everything as crazy as I possibly can for power wise and reliability. So if you like this, hit subscribe, get into the groove of every Saturday. I will post YouTube videos at 9 in the morning every Saturday, and make sure you're there for the next one. Join the channel, donate a couple bucks to the build per month. You can contribute that way if you enjoy my content, and I can make this better. I can do more things, I can go more places, I can modify more things, and just all around make better content if I actually have some good backbone with some joining, and that'd be greatly appreciated. All right guys, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.